Hello, hello, welcome to my greenhouse studio. Today I am inside because it's quite windy and stormy outside, and I would like to show you a video I have made about 6 weeks ago. It was Alexandra from the Middleside Garden, the channel I think you know, who had asked me to make a video about my dahlias growing in pots. And today I would like to share this video with you. Maybe you have seen it, but if not, I think that you would probably also like to see how it was looking here about 1.5 months ago. In the beginning, I'm coming with a little introduction, and maybe you know about my gardening life, and I don't hope that you mind to hear about that again. But take a look here, the garden in the beginning of August. I have been gardening since the mid-90s, and I can tell you that the garden here is 4,000 square meter, which means 1 acre, and we don't have lawns. A big part of the garden in front of the house is what you could call borders in English style, with a lot of flowers, and here where I'm staying just now, at the other side of the house, at the back side of the house, I have so many container plantings. You also need to say hello to Nero, our dog. This is our standard poodle. He's also a gardener, digging holes in the garden. I can tell you that he is 5 years old. So cute. But I will tell you that all the plants you see here, they are grown in pots. I'm just mad about container gardening, and it makes it so easy to move all the plants around. As you can see, this is quite colorful, but I'm working with all kind of colors. For example, I have a sunken garden, a white garden, and just now there are many white dahlias and also foliage plants. In the springtime, I'm using, for example, tulips in the same colors, but just now it's the dahlias which is the highlights. I also have a red corner with different shades of red, also with different foliage plants. I have lavender and lilac dahlias, and I also have yellow dahlias. So I'm almost using all colors. When I'm working with dahlias, I find it so important with companion plants, especially foliage plants. And in this video, I will talk about some of the foliage plants. I will of course also show you some of the dahlia varieties you see here and give you the names, but there are hundreds, there may be thousands of great dahlias. And I think I may be growing maybe 150 or maybe 200 varieties. Especially I like dahlias with dark foliage, and I like tall dahlias and low dahlias, and I'm also playing with all the forms. And yes, I have pompons, I have ball dahlias, I have single flowered dahlias, and I will say I find the single flowering dahlias very important because they really attract the bees. All the dahlias here in the garden, they are grown in pots. And I think that you would maybe like to hear how I am planting the tubers and what I do with the tubers in the winter time, and I will talk about that a little bit later. When I'm planting, both in the borders and in my container design, I am very much working with repetition. I repeat the plants because it gives more quietness. You can see, for example, the begonias here, and also some of the annuals and some of the dahlias. And also I am playing with the shapes and using perennials. I'm using annuals. I will introduce you for some of them, and then of course the dahlias. As you can probably see, I use chartreuse limey foliage, and this is so important for my color scheme here. I'm also using the chartreuse foliage together with the white dahlias and with the yellow dahlias. And I will now introduce you to some of the most important chartreuse foliage plants I'm using. This is the most important foliage plant with chartreuse foliage, and this is Aralia Sun King. Such a great perennial. It's almost a little shrub, but it's so easy to grow in pots. It's completely hardy, and it's very easy to overwinter. The next one I will show you is this one. This is Philadelphus, caucasicus, Aureus, and this is a shrub. But I can tell you what I do. In the spring, I cut this plant down to about 20-25 centimeter, and it means that you will get fresh growth. If you don't prune it, it will get white flowers, and they are okay, but I don't want the flowers. I just want to see the foliage. And then I will talk about this 9-bark, Physocarpus, opulifolius, Nugget. And I do the same with this plant. This is also a shrub, and I prune it, I cut it down once again to this height, and it means that it will have fresh growth and the most beautiful fresh foliage here. When I'm designing with plants, I'm very focused on how they grow, and I find spikes very useful. Therefore, I just love foxgloves and delphiniums, and this is a Lobelia, and the name of this variety, this is Hadspen purple. And see this Begonia, and I really think that it's lighting the whole group of plants up. Here in the garden, we are also growing many annuals from seeds, and this is Cleome, the spider flower, and I just love this airy look. And to add height, we also have Buddleias, and this is Nanho purple, also such a great color. And when you have big flowers, as for example dahlias. You also need some small flowers. And this is Verbena bonariensis. I'm almost sure you know this plant with these tiny flowers. And we have pinched them when they were around 10 centimeters high, and it means that they get more bushy. Lilies, they're also amazing together with dahlias because they have an very, you can call it, unusual shape. And this is purple marble. We have had a quite rainy weather the last days, so there are very, very few flowers left. But I would like to show you how it was looking for just a week ago, and I really think that purple marble, the lilies, they are fitting so great into the color scheme here. Angelica gigas, we are also growing in pots, and you can probably see the bees there, and this is also a very ornamental plant, and the foliage is also great, and it's a plant I can really recommend you. But I think that it's time to show you some of the dahlias. I hope that you were inspired by the Dahlia varieties I have just shown, but as I have said, there are so many. But now I will just explain how we are planting the Dahlia tubers in pots. We start in the beginning of April, and then we plant the tubers in plastic pots. And a very important thing is that you just need to cover the tubers with very little soil, maybe just 1 centimeter, because then they will start to grow, and you will see the green much earlier. And when we have planted the tubers, we water them, and then we place them in the greenhouse. And in about 2-3 weeks time, they will start to grow. And in the beginning of May, depending on the season, we plant the potted Dahlia tubers. We put them in big pots. And very often I'm planting 3 tubers in a pot like this. But if you have a smaller pot, you can also just plant 1. And we are using good soil. and we remember to feed them. And when we have planted the tubers in the pots, we place a support, and this support is my own design, and I would say it's quite important to support the dahlias, because if it will be rain and if it will be maybe stormy, they will maybe flop over, they will fall over, and they will break. So I'm always supporting my dahlias. And then they start to grow, and it's almost impossible to see the support. This support is my own design, and because it's rusty, you don't see it. If you look around here, it's yes, I don't think that that people see the supports, and I think also they are okay to look at. I also need, by the end, to tell you what I do with the tubers in the winters. In the winter time, people ask me if I just leave them in the pot, but we don't do that. We take the tubers up, we clean them, and then we store them. We wrap them with in newspapers, and then we store them with, let's say, 5, maybe 10 degrees. You probably know that frost is it will just kill them. So you need to find a place with maybe 5 or 10 degrees. And then next spring we just plant them again in the beginning of April, and then we use them year for year. It's always such a pleasure to look back, and it's almost unbelievable now how beautiful it was for just a few weeks ago. It's still nice here in the garden, but as I have said, here in Denmark we have late summer, and soon we will also have autumn. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye, goodbye.